We're back with the director, the creator of King Crimson at 50, the film you definitely want to go see. The small screen is cool, but there's nothing like the big screen and the sound system in a theater. We're with the man himself, Tony AMIES. And Toby, tell us about this rollout here in America. How many screenings? How many cities? I know kicks off this week here in Los Angeles. NoHo on Thursday,
NoHo
downtown.
Lemley on Thursday, yep, on the second,
Yes,
and then the Alamo Downtown on the third, which is Friday. I'm going to be in
yes.
attendance at both screenings, so if people do want to have an intense discussion about the merits of the disciplined band versus any other iterations of King Crimson, I'm not the person to have them. um, but the film. What I love to do is I like to find really interesting, complex subjects and then make entertaining, illuminating films about them if I can. So I just want to make it really clear that the perfect audience for this film is somebody who really loves King Crimson, and I'm going to make a gender-based assumption here, and I'm just going to assume with no evidence whatsoever that the person who really loves King Crimson is male.
That is
I'm just
shocking.
going to make that assumption. It's crazy, I know. Going to go out on
You're
a limb
going
here.
out on a ledge there.
Yeah, it's just I'm willing to take that risk. But if they were to take their partner with them to see the film, and I have this on good authority because several people have said it to me, the film is designed both to please the person who has a near unhealthy interest in King Crimson and their partner who possibly for 50 years at this point has not understood what the point of the whole thing is. And I've been at lots of screenings where wives and girlfriends have come up to me and said, I understand why he loves them so much now.
Yeah.
And those are absolutely the best possible reviews for me. They make me so happy.
Yeah, you wanna stretch the minds and stretch the audience. And
Yeah, and just give people, and there's a lot about the fans in the film as well, because they are, for me, they're half of the band, and Robert would say that the music doesn't exist without an audience. And so that's really important. So the film is playing in over 70 screens
mm,
across the states, and then it goes on to VOD on December the 1st. That means you can download it from iTunes, Amazon, Google Play, all of those places.
yeah.
And if you go to www.itcock.com, which is, which is the an acronym for In the Court of the Crimson King. All of the screenings are listed there, and you can click through to buy tickets.
Yeah, I think it's interesting how movies can roll out these days where you can do individual screenings in certain towns and let the core audience know when and where. It doesn't need to play for 3 weeks in your local mall
It's much
Cineplex.
better. Yeah, it's so much better to see that film in a cinema that's full of people who love King Crimson than it is to see it in some multiplex and stuff. And it's important to point out, Jay, that this film was paid for by King Crimson.
Mhm.
At no point whatsoever did they interfere with me making the film. There's been no critical interference or creative interference from them whatsoever. Um, but as a consequence, this film is 100% independent. It's being independently
Yes.
released. It was independently funded. It was independently made, and it's independently minded. And as someone who grew up in punk, there's nothing more punk rock than that.
Yeah, no doubt about it. We don't like corporate meddling and
No,
disillusion in our art, no doubt. So
yeah.
when Robert agreed to let you do this? Was there any directive? What exactly did he tell you before you
He
started
didn't
the
agree
journey?
he didn't agree to have me made it. He asked me to make it. And then when once I'd agreed to make it, then he wouldn't talk to me.
Hmm.
So that's what that experience was like. So no, he said he wanted to sort of see what King Crimson was from an external perspective, and he wanted something that was going to introduce to the band to people who didn't know anything about them. And I thought that the best way to do that was to find out the humanity in the band and explore that, because that gives other human beings an idea of what it's like to be in that unique and very high pressure creative space.
And how many shows did you attend?
I would say about 20, maybe,
You,
possibly 15.
and
But
these were all
it's
on the
like,
European continent?
no, they were in Japan. There were none in America, unfortunately, but mostly it was Europe and Japan. And the kind of the conceit, if you like, of the film, and no one's actually said anything about this, is that like no matter the location, front of house is front of house, the stage is the stage, the show is the show, and backstage is backstage. So it's very rare that we actually tell people, where a particular thing is happening, because as far as I'm concerned, the kind of the reality of being on tour is that you're either on stage or you're backstage. You know, they're much the same whether that's in Oslo or Tokyo.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, haven't seen the film. I can highly recommend it. It is definitely entertaining and stretches your mind. I don't think anyone can really fully grasp what is King Crimson. It's
Uh,
really
I
it's
tell you what I think it is.
what that may be.
I'm sorry, my sound dropped out there for a second.
What might that be, Toby?
Um, I'm not going to say, but it rhymes with a pain in my ass.
Ah, okay.
No, what King Crimson is, it's something to live for. That is literally one of the messages of the film. That King Crimson uh, brings meaning and joy into people's lives, and because of that, it is something to live for. And what more can you ask of a work of art than that?
Well, yeah, in a world that's become increasingly PC and corporate and tech driven, it's a welcome thing. And I do
Yeah,
recall musicians preparing for these shows um, quite overwhelmed, with the material and the time changes and everything that's involved. It was really a sight to behold.
yeah. There's a lot. There's a that those people are willing to make extreme sacrifices to bring something of beauty and meaning into the world, and they should be applauded for it. But also, it doesn't look like a lot of fun, which is why the film is peppered with jokes.
Yes. Well, like I said, it's two kinds of music that moves you and music that doesn't. And for
Indeed.
those that King Crimson has moved, or you're curious, or you're going to bring your partner, be prepared, because I think you'll walk out of the theater a better person, you know,
Oh, that's nice. Thank you.
an
I'll take
expanded.
that. I'm not sure it's true, but it's a lovely compliment. Thank you,
I
Jay.
think every experience in life makes you a better person, and
Okay,
this
well, there we go.
this is um this
I
is
tell
one
you
of
what, it's shorter than Killers of the Flower Moon by about 4 times.
ah you won't need to pack a lunch and bring a pillow, I guess.
No, indeed not.
Wow. Well, congratulations are definitely in mind for one Toby Amos, of course. Amy's, I'm sorry, King
That's all right.
Crimson at 50, and one can only imagine King Crimson at 100. If that ever comes to be.
Well, if people keep on sampling them like Kanye, you know that their work will continue. Thank you for having me,
Well,
Jake.
Toby, we'll get the word out. Hope to see you at some screenings, and please, to your next project, we're there behind you. Thank you so
Okay,
much.
thank you.
Appreciate
Itcop.com. Cheers.